Okay, so just to see if we remember something from yesterday. So bodhicitta, what does it mean? How would you explain bodhicitta to somebody who doesn't know what it means? First the words, bodhi is full awakening, and citta is the mind. And a being who has this mind becomes a bodhisattva. Okay, so we talked about yesterday first that there's two types of bodhicitta, the aspiring one and the engaging one. So we actually had this conversation on the way back that it's kind of not fair how can aspiring bodhicitta be bodhicitta? Isn't it? Did I get kind of, yeah. How can it be bodhicitta if you don't do anything? Well, it's still bodhicitta because it's this aspiration to attain full awakening for all sentient beings. Now, you haven't taken the vow, and you have not started to, the vow is like that you will engage, the vow is the vows that you will engage in practicing the six perfections. So once you have, the vows are there to, these bodhisattva vows, the way they're built up, they're there to help you practice these six perfections by keeping the vows. Now, this is not an easy matter. I mean, people go into that far too lightly, not really knowing what kind of vows they're taking and not really know what bodhicitta is. So I think this aspiring bodhicitta is really important at the beginning so that you can then make the step to go forward. But it's still a mind who wants to attain enlightenment for all sentient beings. Also, there's another kind of two bodhicittas, which is called conventional and ultimate. So the conventional bodhicitta is like taking the vows and then practicing the six perfections. That is engaging bodhicitta. Ultimate is not really bodhicitta, but ultimate is the bodhicitta that understands that even though there is suffering, even though there are sentient beings, even though there is causes, but actually, this is all an illusion. Actually, this is all based on a misconception. So once you have this wish to benefit all sentient beings, it's not that all our delusions disappear just like that, just because that is there. And then one takes these texts that are called lojong, like thought transformation, where you actually start to hurt this false ego almost on purpose, so that it comes up again and again and again and again, so that you can examine it. It needs to be, when you're then so strong, then you start to go against it. But only once you feel okay with yourself. This is why all these other practices come before. You know about karma, you know why you suffer, you know about the delusions, you know what to do with the delusions, you already have some mental stability. And then you can then start, saying, so for example, whenever I am with others, I will see myself as the lowest of all and hold everybody else as supreme. I mean, a normal person, why would you do that? The first part we do anyway, when we're not too good looking, when we are not healthy, when we are a bit out of it, when we are depressed, we see ourselves as the lowest of all. This we can do, there's no problem. Yeah, many of us have had that moment where we went into a group and we felt like really close, like we separated ourselves from others. We didn't feel connected, isn't it? Those people who feel depressed and you want to help them and they go, you're like, leave me alone, and then you go, and then they get upset because you went. Yeah. And both minds are negative minds. Like they're locked with these two negative minds. They cannot be with people, but they can also not be without people. So it's terrible. How are you going to remedy that? Yeah. Anyway, so some say, like we do this mind transformation. For that, again, you have verses, and like these, what I was just saying is like one of the 8 verses, second verse of Langri Tangpa's 8 verses. Then you have 7-point mind training by Chekava. You have Atisha's, what is it, jewel garland of Bodhisattva? Huh? Jewel garland of a Bodhisattva. There's many texts like this which help you to expose yourself to difficult situations. But if you don't know, and there, like for example, Langri he puts the emptiness part, that everything is just an illusion, at the end. It's the 8th verse. Why? So that not from the beginning you go totally naive into the whole thing and you think nothing will happen to me because it's just an illusion. Because you have understood it here, but not deep down. You don't live according to that yet, that there is no ego to be hurt. Yeah? Like when negative words come or when criticism come, we immediately react and we think like, oh, you know, like again, the ego comes up very, very strong. So actually, somebody said in the break that what the Dalai Lama did was not very kind. He didn't do this to be kind. He did this so that people's egos would come up, because that's what a good teacher is doing, is when they see that you can take it, they do this on purpose, or totally ignoring you also, you know. I remember one woman from Venezuela that he picked her out of the crowd 2 or 3 times, and then when he finally came to Venezuela, even though she had prepared, like she was a photographer, she had prepared in a bank, she had prepared black and white pictures of the Tibetans and of him when she was in Dharamsala, she was sure that he would acknowledge her. He totally ignored her. She said, wow, that was the lesson of my life. He totally ignored her, as if he wouldn't know her. So this is what they do sometimes, because you see, just by being recognized by somebody like this, we think wow, we're really great. But then if it's not, then they have to pull this out, because they're here for that. They're here for us to get rid of that false ego. So for that, we need to see it. But if that false ego is too strong, then it's not helpful. So a good teacher sees when, it's the same thing, a doctor. When you have somebody who needs really strong medicine, like chemotherapy or whatever, which is kind of harmful actually for the body, sometimes they need to build that person up first so that they can give this medicine. So this is what you do with the practices of, you know, that make you feel good. You do these first, and then you start to go at your ego. So Geshe Chekawa, he starts by, so Langri Champa has emptiness at the end, Geshe Chekawa has it at the beginning. Because he says otherwise it gets too heavy, this whole thing. It becomes very solid and you might get depressed or discouraged or whatever. So it's different ways. So this ultimate bodhicitta is not really bodhicitta. It's just like it goes together. It's the mind understanding emptiness. So for those who have never heard it, I brought my favorite tool. Some of you know it. So those, you can still look at it, the ones who know it. This is, please don't take it apart, because when it's scratched, it doesn't work so well anymore. So it's 2 mirrors, but it has a hole here. Inside is a black spider. The spider is plastic, okay? It doesn't jump, not doing anything. But even knowing that, people who have spider phobia, even knowing that, they go like this. So the spider is actually sitting on the bottom, but because of these 2 mirrors, it gets projected to here. And when you have this at the set, here it disappears, then all of a sudden it appears. So when the conditions are right, the spider appears, but only when the conditions are right. So this false ego does not exist that we have. It's the same as the spider sitting on top here does not exist. But when the right conditions come, that you hold it in the right angle, then this spider here on top exists, but only as an illusion. So this I, when this self-cherishing is, this ignorance or this false view that this I exists, when it is there, only then it becomes real. You see, when you know that this spider here on top is not real, even though it appears, it's not a problem. Even if it would be a real one, like a living one. But if you don't know that this one is not the real one, you're afraid of it. You believe in it. This is the problem. So what makes it real is not the actual thing. What makes it real is our believing in it. So this I or this me coming up when we're hurt or when we're frightened or when we're full attachment and full of greed, when it comes up, it appears. But that's not the problem. The problem is not that it appears. The problem is that we start to grasp at it, okay? So we have 2 enemies only. 2 enemies that destroy our or that cover our potential of lasting happiness. Yeah? In the break, you can come and have a look at it. One is that this grasping at the self, believing that what appears when you're not well or when you're frightened or whatever, believing that it's really there. And the way it appears is not in concordance with how it exists. But we believe in the appearance. Like what exists is a spider on the bottom. What appears is a spider on the top. So we react to the spider on the top. So what exists is a merely labeled I. And maybe to make it not too subtle, you know, and that you know who you are, you know, now you're hungry, you need to go and eat, all this. It's a part of the mind. Okay? Now, but what the ignorance adds to that is permanence. That this I is always the same. And I know that many people who hear this for the first time, they say, no, I know my I is different. No, we don't. This is something that you really have to find out in meditation. You have to observe it. Like, what do you think? Your feeling of I, is it different than it was 10 o'clock this morning when you came into this room? I, me. Has it changed? Anna says yes. The feeling of me, when I call you, Anna, am I calling Anna at 10 o'clock or Anna at 12 o'clock? Are you aware that this Anna is different?
Now I'm aware. It doesn't mean that...
Here, not here, here. The feeling of, would you ask, which Anna are you calling? Are you calling the Anna from 10 o'clock or are you calling the Anna from 12 o'clock?
No way.
You would have to make a distinction between these two if it's different.
The thing is that now, with these conditions, that we are here practicing, listening to you, I can feel it. I wish I could feel slightly.
I'm sorry, Anna, I have to say, you haven't looked properly. You don't understand that yet, that this I, when it hurts, it feels the same as yesterday. It feels the same as 10 years ago. When you look at the picture from, you know, army or even school, group picture, and you go, you say, this is me. You're not saying, this was me. And the feeling of me then and now is the same. This is why, in a very convincing way, you can say, this is me. This is what I'm talking about. Not the mind state. Of course, we know the mind changes, the body changes, all of this changes. Maybe something that makes it more clear. If somebody comes and says, I can give you a new body without pain, doesn't need any care, would you take it? I mean, some people say no. I would definitely take it. You know, I would take it. Would you, for those who would take it, would you take it?
Yes.
No pain, no sicknesses, totally fit, not needing any food, huh?
Sure, I would buy a subscription.
Yeah, I would definitely take it, right? Then somebody comes and says, okay, I can give you a new mind, a mind who is always calm, patient, kind, open, spacious. Would you take it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Everybody will take it. At least that's wisdom. You know, when you say, no, I want to do the work myself. Some people say that. Some people actually, in a very convincing way, they say that. I wouldn't take it. I have this. But then they're...
These are the Protestants. Israelis will say yes.
No, Israelis. I tell you, Israelis say that.
Shortcuts.
No, Israelis say that. Yeah.
So they're Protestants.
Anyway, so imagine, now what happens? Okay, so they say, okay, Sunday morning we come, we change. So then we are convinced, okay, I get a new body, that's great. I get a new mind. So first we need to take the body away, okay? Then we need to take the mind away, the old one. But then it's still this I who is waiting for the new body and for the new mind. But that one is the illusion. That one who can wait when there's no body and there's no way, who can be self-sufficiently existing from its own side, being permanent. And then the Anna, funny enough, with the new body and with the new mind, will still be Anna. That's how we feel. Logically, it wouldn't work, but this is how we feel. So this is the illusion, that this I, me, is permanent, meaning not changing. So then, just knowing this intellectually can help a lot, especially when you hold on to past things that have happened to you, or even present things that are happening to you. You think, okay, my I now, it just got insulted. But in 2 minutes, I have a different one, because it changes moment by moment by moment by moment by moment.
But you have insulted the present one. You say, Leo, you're idiot. Even though myself is not permanent, assume I'm able to do, still you have insulted me now.
Yeah, but then the next one is a different one, so why would you still be insulted next moment?
Jenny will come and say, I love you, and you're very nice.
This goes especially for people who are really holding on to past pain, that we have to examine this. This I that was hurt 5 years ago, is that still the same one? How can it feels the same when we don't examine it? See, this whole thing is, if you don't examine it, it looks like that. It looks solid, unitary, only one.
And where are the achievements? Also, we rely on our achievement. So you want me to give up this also?
No, of course not. But there is no I behind the achievement. There's only achievement. Let me finish maybe. There's only achievements. There's no, then it's this I who gets stuck to it and says, I did that. Who does the achievements? I? Who does the achievements? Who?
Me? Am I to answer?
Yeah. Who is doing the achievements?
Conventionally, we say I.
Yeah, but who is doing it? Who is doing it?
The combination of body and mind.
Exactly. The I has no thing in there. But it says I did all the achievements. Said, hey, thank you, body, for having won this gold medal, for example. Or thank you, mind, for having figured out this problem. Yeah? So this is it. We will function so much better when this I is not blocking us. But we still know who we are because we have a conventional I.
So you have to replace this word with something
No.
else?
Is it.
How would you say? How would you speak?
Well, I don't understand emptiness, so I cannot speak. I can only speak for me because I still have a very strong me. But some of the yogis actually say, oh, we're going to the market. Or they are going to the market. And they function really well. They function really well. But don't worry so much about the result yet. First we look at the problem that this creates.
Observation, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I have to say it's shocking.
Yeah, it is. It's totally shocking.
It's very impressive.
And you're probably the only one who understands what I'm talking about, because it is shocking. We should be frightened. We should be shocked when we hear this. Then we understand, what it actually means. I think some Shravakas started to vomit or something when the when the Buddha was giving them teachings on that this I does not exist. Okay. It's this I who creates me and them instead of us. Okay? It's this I who, when it's... But we'll come to that when we come to the disadvantage of Shantideva. I just want to finish how it appears. It appears permanent, unitary. Because you see, this I can be happy and this I can be sad. Now these are two totally different mind states. But the I that has these mind states feels the same. So that's another illusion. How can it feel the same? So if you want to have I, you need many different I's for a concentrated mind, or I for a, totally distracted, for happy, for sad, for kind, for nasty, for this and that. So which one is the real one?
Plenty. I don't think we have one.
Yeah, here we know we have plenty of I's. Actually, it's just mind states. We don't need this I. We have the mind states who do their job. And sometimes if you do a lot of meditation, you sit there and you can hear, the perceptions, the sensations in the body, the emotions that come, the thoughts that come. And then the person who is leading the meditation probably will ask all of a sudden, now, all this is happening in the body and the mind. You have a mind that understands what is happening. Do you need an I for this to happen? No. The ear consciousness and ear recognizes sound, the eyes shape and color, the body sensations, and so on and so forth. So it's the whole thing about Buddhism is like to cut through this illusion. This is the root of all sufferings, because when we believe in it, okay, so that's the first enemy that we have. Then we start to cherish it. It becomes more precious than Nissim's eye. You see, the most ridiculous thing is actually, I take myself, and I do, very seriously. Well, maybe half seriously, but I do take myself seriously. But, you know, there's so many beings in this world. I am the only one calling myself me, I. I'm the only one. For everybody else, I'm you.
She.
Or she.
Or it.
Or it, or whatever, you know? And I take myself, and this is for everybody the same, when just this one fact. I'm the only one who's calling myself I, you know? Okay, so that's the first enemy, believing and grasping as this thing as true. Permanent, unitary, independent, not being dependent on body and mind. It's totally dependent on the body and mind, but it acts as if it's the boss. You take away the body, you take away the mind, what can you still have? Nothing. An absence, a lack. So this is why you don't have to replace it, you know. When you start to realize it, there is a lack of, not an I, there is an I, a conventional I, but there's a lack of a permanent, independent, self-sufficient I. And that one, when we grasp at it and we believe in it, we start to cherish it, okay? So you get more on this with, is Sangye Kato doing the emptiness part? Mm-hmm. Because there's a whole module just on that. So with these two bodhicittas, conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So the ultimate bodhicitta is also looking at emptiness, studying it, finally realizing it. You're harming. First, we're only harming. We can't get rid of it yet. But we are harming not the I, but we're harming the wrong views about this I. You see, this is why it's so shocking and so threatening that when we say we have to get rid of the ego or the I, you don't have to get rid of it, you have to recognize it. And what you are destroying is not your I or not your ego. That is very, very Protestant and Catholic, like you're no good, you're going to be punished, you're going to hell, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's not like this. It's kind of what you're trying to destroy is the view about this I, the belief in it, the wrong view or mistaken view, whatever you want to call it. Okay, well. If we have people who study philosophy, they would now, they would now protest. Wrong view and mistaken view is not the same thing, okay, in philosophy. Wrong view is totally wrong and mistaken is only with the object of appearance. Huh?
So destroying is too strong a word which puts me into defense.
Well, but you're not destroying the I, you're destroying a wrong view. Okay. If you have a wrong view of me, my name being Maria, if I tell you that, no, my name is either Rita or Losang, that wrong view is destroyed. It's gone. How would you call it? We can call it another name, it's just a name.
You're just mirroring it, we are drawing your attention to the fact, such and such. I mean, to
Yeah.
say destroying, as soon as you tell me you have to destroy something, I say,
Yeah.
There's a nice story.
don't destroy anything.
But you know, the thing is, sometimes it's good to destroy.
Like destroying cancer cells.
Huh?
Like destroying cancer cells.
It's
For
like-
example, yeah.
It's like fighting for peace. Do me a favor, don't fight for the peace.
I am not fighting for the peace. I'm trying to be very peaceful so that I can tell people it's good to be peaceful. Yeah. But, you know, we're not talking about... This destruction doesn't have to be violent, by the way. Why do you combine destruction
Maybe
with violence?
It's my private association, so I'm giving up.
Yeah, exactly. So you use, it's good, you use another word, okay? You use eliminating. Oh, that is, in this country, not so good. It's even worse, actually.
Yeah. We'll choose the time and the occasion.
Uprooting. Uprooting also no good. Yeah, do you have a garden?
Uprooting.
You need to uproot your weeds, otherwise they take over. And you don't have to do this with hate. You do it with wisdom by seeing which one do I want to keep and which one do I want to which one do I want to get rid of? So again, you know, this is another thing when we start to study and to meditate, we start to look at our views that we have in terms of words. It's just a word.
It's enough to see that it's illusionary.
Yeah.
It is frightening enough.
Yeah.
But it is illusion, because we don't
Mhm.
feel it's illusion.
But I think,
So suddenly you put a mirror and you say, look, it's illusion.
okay,
There is
mirror
nothing
is a
there.
good thing. Mirror is a good one. What we mistake the face in the mirror for the real face.
It's enough. It's strong enough, no?
No, because it's very strong, and we need to, if we want to have happiness, we need to be able to get rid of it, basically. So, but you can, Mayor, you can use your own words.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's a nice story.
Yeah.
There's a nice story about it that once a meditator saw for a second his selflessness, and he went to the teacher and said, "Wow, wow!" He was terrified. I saw this, the lack of himself. So he told him, "Who is afraid?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is it. You see, when you have very strong emotions, and then you will do the meditation with Sangikado. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to do this here. That you go and look for it. Is it in the body? Is it in the mind? Is it here? Is it there? And you can't find it anywhere. It gives you a lot of space. Yeah? This I, this me, is separating me from others. And this is what is creating the fear, and this is what is creating the aggression. And this is what is creating, I need to destroy him in order to be happy. But no, I need to destroy the wrong view that I and Nissim are totally separate. With this I, it's very difficult to have this view, his happiness is just as important as mine. Why do I think mine is more important? And this is what Einstein says, I think. If people don't realize that, the survival of this planet is absolutely not guaranteed. The moment we realize that everybody's happiness is just as important as mine, then we have a chance to survive. Otherwise, that's it. We are destroying ourselves. And we're not going that way. It's me first. My country first. My religion first. Huh?
Look at Trump and Kim Jong-un.
No, on purpose I didn't mention any name. You know what I'm talking about. But we do the same thing. We're doing the same thing. So with these two bodhicittas, with the conventional bodhicitta, we're harming the cherishing of the self. We are consciously putting others' happiness in front of mine. With the lojong, with the thought training, with these verses. And we start, there's a structure to it, you know. We start very small, like first we learn to see everybody as dear. Why? Because for my happiness, I need other people. Just for my bare survival, I need other people. So how can I say that we're totally separate and they're not important? You know? Everybody has enough money to do the shitty jobs, for the dirty jobs, the difficult jobs. What are you going to do with your money? Why do you think people work in the fields? Because they love it? You can ask them. Why do you think they come from Thailand to Israel? Because they don't have an income in Thailand or the Philippines or whatever. Yeah. So what about, all these people who do these very difficult jobs? Oh, I pay. Well, where does your money come from? Did you manufacture it? It comes because either you have something to sell, or somebody is employing you, so they pay you, or you have customers also, like people who need your products, your clients, your patients, your whatever. Without them, nothing. Or maybe it comes from your parents, or from the lottery, or from somewhere, I don't know. But it definitely doesn't come from you. But this is I pay. But so what? So with the conventional one, we harm the self-grasping. We go against it, my happiness first. With the ultimate one, we harm the wrong view that it exists from its own side. Okay, Sarah, what did you want to ask?
About the conventional I.
Yeah.
The conventional I means that it exists.
Yeah, that one exists as a convention, as a label,
Yeah, it's a merely label I.
Yeah, this watch exists. But if I look for it, I can't find it in the parts. Nowhere. There's not one atom of this watch where I can say, this is the watch. Wherever I point to is not watch. And it's all these non-watch elements who make watch. But what is the watch? It's just the name. In order for this thing to become a watch, I need the parts and particles. I need the name watch. For you, already it doesn't work because you have a different name. And I need a mind who labels it watch, who recognizes it as watch. If I'm a fly and I sit on it, this is definitely not a watch. There's nothing coming from this side who says, hello, I'm a watch. It's only coming that side. So when we look, things do not exist objectively. They only exist subjectively, what they are. But there is a basis out there. There's definitely a basis. But then our mind, and actually in the German word, and you might, maybe because you also have this in psychotherapy and maybe in Yiddish also, in German we say, like, we don't see, dass der Geist die Wirklichkeit gestaltet. Der gestaltende Geist, okay? Gestalt, you know. What does it mean for you, Gestalt? Meaning? Forms it. That's it. Gestalten is not creating. It is, you already have something and then you make something out of it. That's a very good word. And so it's very easy to explain in German because you can say, der gestaltende Geist macht die Wirklichkeit. So the forming mind creates reality. It's the mind who creates reality. This is why for some people this looks beautiful and for others this looks ugly. There's nothing coming from this side. So the conventional I, yes, exists as a label giving to this body and this mind. But this is not what one is negating. That I one is not negating. What one is negating, this very strong I that comes up, who is able to steal somebody's possessions. Not understanding it makes them suffer. Or an even stronger I who rapes somebody, who doesn't understand how much suffering that creates. You see, when there is this very strong I, or this self-cherishing is very big, you forget about that there's a person there. Totally, because it's only I, me, my need, my want. The friar, you know, forgetting that he's also Israeli, he also doesn't want to be friar. Why don't I let him be the anti-friar? Why don't I take the friar part? This would be, you know. Somebody told me at one point she had a bumper on her car which said, I'm a proud friar. Who was it? Was it somebody of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what? You had to take it off or something?
Well, I saw the car and the friar, the first thing he did, he took it off.
Itzik has it on his car.
Huh?
Itzik
Itzik.
showed me has it on his car.
Yeah, Itzik, he lives it. Itzik lives this. This is really, he's very inspiring. Okay. So, is that clear? Are you clear about these 2 times 2 bodhicittas? There is the engaging, the aspiring bodhicitta, and then the engaging bodhicitta. But I think without the aspiring bodhicitta, it will be very, very difficult. It will be very, very difficult to have engaging bodhicitta on a safe, healthy, on a safe and healthy basis, I think. Because you see, many religions tell us about altruism. But very often it's done to please God, for example, because otherwise he won't love me. And we do a lot of positive actions because of that, because we're afraid that nobody will like us. So that kind of goes well for a certain while, but then afterwards, if then people still don't like you because they feel it's not genuine, they feel there is self-concern behind, yeah? But anyway, you know, if you have a choice between kindness with self-concern or unkindness, I would say still choose kindness with self-concern. Yeah. Also, Khandro Rinpoche, she said, well, you know, I mean, just be kind. And if you can't be kind, then fake to be kind. Because then you will become kind. If we never try, if we wait to be totally pure, to do everything totally selfless with no ego involved, nothing for me, well, we can wait a long time. But it's through this kind of healthy self-concern, being concerned about others, we start to first of all, we start to purify negative karma with bodhicitta, a lot, yeah? You know, when you think just the thought of, that's Shantideva, to relieving the headache of one person creates so much positive karma. Then the thought of liberating all beings from their suffering, even you can't do it yet, but just the wish to do that creates so much positive karma and kind of purifies a lot of the negative karma. So as you go along that path, all of a sudden you become a non-needy person. So you don't need that motivation of self-concern anymore. You can, because you discovered, I don't need it. And then this, you know, the needier this I, the bigger it becomes. The bigger this I is, this wrong I or projected I, the more needy and the more sensitive it becomes. The more somebody thinks, I'm so important and I'm so great, the easier it is to hurt these people. If somebody thinks, oh, I'm just a nobody, but in a healthy way, because thinking that you're a nobody can also be done in an unhealthy way, and you think you're very important because you're nobody. I'm the worst of all beings. It's also a kind of arrogance. So then the I is also very strong. But when you are, for example, if I would be with the Dalai Lama, I would see myself as a total healthy nobody. I wouldn't take myself important. You know, if he tells me to do this, I would run. I would do it. Why? Because I respect him. Yeah. Also, I trust him that he would not abuse me. Maybe he would. I don't know. Yeah. But I have decided to be of benefit to him. So I would. So then there's a lot of ego there because look at me and do this for the. But it would be a happy ego doing that. Yeah. So you see that when your teachers come, how much work that is. And how everybody in general is doing that in a very healthy and very light way, in a very joyful way. Because people see this as a good thing. Whereas if your worst enemy would force you to do this, you would suffer even though it's only half the thing. So you see, again, I can't remember if it was somebody here. Yeah, you told me the story about the guy with the stones. Going on the road with the stones. That he was sweating and was unhappy and, no? Anyway, so there's two guys going on the road with stones. One is sweating and unhappy, puts the stones down, and so somebody says, what are you doing? Oh, I'm carrying these stones along the road. And another one, you know, very happy, blah, 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 same stones, and it was alone. And then the other one says, well, I'm building a house. So he sees the purpose of carrying these stones. If we just stay with the action, we don't see any purpose, and then of course we get tired and we get disappointed. Okay, so conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, it looks at emptiness and at the method side. Aspiring bodhicitta, engaging bodhicitta is already aspiring bodhicitta, you have bodhicitta, but you have not taken the vows yet and you're not consciously engaging in the 6 perfections, but you have already decided this is where I want to go. So you continue with this structure of building it up step by step.
So Bodhisattva is inspiring? You could be inspiring?
Oh, bodhisattvas are many kinds. So you can be an ordinary bodhisattva, which has either aspiring or engaging bodhicitta. Or you can be an Arya bodhisattva, which is already on the path of seeing. That has already realized emptiness. And even, you know, a Buddha, you can say the Buddha was in the bodhisattva vehicle if you become fully enlightened. So maybe that also, maybe you remember, maybe it's good to know there are, you know, the Mahayanas say, I don't want to go into nirvana, it's self-cherishing, it's only me, blah, blah, all this. There's 4 different kinds of nirvanas. This is also good to remember. This is to remember, so because then you understand the teachings better about the goal. So you have natural nirvana, which is our Buddha nature. We don't have to say Buddha nature, which is our clear nature mind. Has nothing to do with the Buddha. Everybody has it. The Buddha didn't invent it. It's not only the Buddhists who have it. What? The Buddha invented it?
No, it's a potential.
Yeah. It's the nature of the mind. Same way as water has the nature to be wet, that you cannot take away. The same way our mind has basic spaciousness, like it's unlimited, but this I is limiting it. Yeah? Has compassion, wisdom, love, everything is already there. Happiness, it's already there, but it's covered through this wrong view of I, separating myself from others. So it's natural nirvana. Then there is nirvana with remainder. With remainder, something that remains. Let's say you are in your last rebirth as a Theravadin practitioner, yeah, and you are a non-returner, and you finish with the last veils of your ignorance, and so your mind is totally pure already, but you still have this body. So that is still remaining. Then at the time of death, your mind is not going to be reborn. So then it's nirvana without remainder. Because it's not the body that creates nirvana, it's the mind. Okay? So while you are finishing your last bits of veils as a Theravadin practitioner, you have nirvana with remainder, and then when you die, because they also die, then the mind is not reborn, and you have nirvana without remainder. If you are in the Bodhisattva vehicle, you have non-abiding nirvana. Nirvana means a total cessation of suffering and causes of suffering. That's what nirvana means, basically. That's the state of nirvana. So non-abiding means you're not abiding in that peaceful state. You come back again and again, again, to work more on your mind, to go on the 10 levels of a bodhisattvas, the 10 bodhisattva bhumis, where you perfect your mind in these perfections. So when we say the 6 perfections are for a bodhisattva, nobody wants you to be able to do this. It's a training for a bodhisattva, because these 6 perfections, a Buddha is actually doing them. A Buddha is actually spontaneous action, these perfections. That's for a Buddha. On the bodhisattva path, you're training them because you need to be trained. So it's not, I think sometimes one thinks, just because everything is there, still it has to be developed. Yeah? Okay, by these practices. Has to be seen. Is that clear? Okay, so we go into these 11 points, which are the two methods from Shantideva and Asanga put together by Lama Tsongkhapa. For those who were not here yesterday, maybe a little bit difficult if that's the first time you hear it. Has everybody heard, there's usually 2 traditional methods how to develop bodhicitta. This is by Asanga, which is called 6 causes, 1 effect, seeing all beings as your mother, seeing their kindness, wanting to repay the kindness, developing love, developing compassion, understanding that I cannot really help them unless I know myself how to get out of samsara, because I can give them better conditions, but they still have to die, they still are not satisfied. And we can see that helplessness when you are with all people who are afraid of death. What can you do? Nothing. What can a Buddha do? Maybe just by being present and having a totally open heart and not taking any responsibility but being fully present, maybe they can help them. Especially a Buddha image can help if you are familiar with that image, but you need to have, again, it's not coming from the image. It's also coming from the image, but it needs to have these 2 things. This image needs to mean something for you. So the more you visualize the Buddha, the more the Buddha, that figure, this is why there's a form, the more that form is present in your life, the more just seeing it at the time of death can put your mind in a totally peaceful state. But you need to have a connection with that image. You need to know it. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you put, not only you, also other teacher, you put such an emphasis on the day or minute or 2 weeks before dying? It's only 2 weeks. I mean, why do you make such a big mess out of it?
It's a very good question, because at the time of death, your mind state activates the imprint that will throw you into your next life.
So if
Now,
I don't believe in next life.
then that's you're okay.
I can die.
It's not for you. You can die very angry and very, very full of panic and full of fear, but go with dying people when they're in such a state, and then really ask yourself, do I really want to go from this world like this?
Of course not.
Oh,
I
then.
want candles and music for sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, candles and music, this is outside. I'm not talking about outside, I'm talking about mind.
I want to be. I want to die happy. But the question
Exactly.
is, how much do I have to invest in it in order to die happy?
Okay, what would you have to invest in order to die happy? What kind of things do you need to do now?
No, you're talking about.
No, I'm asking you.
She's asking you.
What do I have to do
Yeah.
in order to die happy? First of all, probably I will not die happy.
That's already good. You see, this is a friendly acceptance of not dying happy, which will help you to be happier than
Thank
otherwise.
you. I didn't mean it, but okay. And I think probably I will not die happy because probably I will not accomplish what I want.
Okay.
Probably.
So what could you do now when you say, I will not die happy because I will not accomplish what I want? What could you do to be happier?
I have to
Not-
eliminate the point of this. The question is, the main question, what should I do today
Exactly.
in order to feel better
Yeah.
today?
You lower your expectations, for example,
Yes,
of accomplishment. Then,
yes,
you know,
yes,
you go day by day instead of
Yes,
going
yes,
year by year. You go,
Yes.
okay, today I accomplished this, that's good, I've done. So you lower them, then you will die happier.
Please leave me aside with this. I'm not investing in
You said you wanted to die happy.
No,
I'm trying to help you. What you can do to die happy without the Buddha, I don't want to give you the Buddha, you know. No, but for Buddhists it's very important because the mind state activates the karmic imprint that throws you into the next state. It's like, what example could I use? It's like, no, I don't want to use this example. It's not good. I have to think about it. So, but when you say, why is it so important? It's the happy death, we have to start to create it now. So for me, I think a happy death will be a thought, I haven't harmed too many people. And the last 10 years, as far as I know, I haven't actually harmed anybody in a bad way, like hurting their feelings. That creates in me a nice feeling. Then when I can think, maybe for some people I was actually of help. Wow, that was, but I have to do this now. I can't just think it when it's not true. So then, this whole thing about death, it makes my life now already more meaningful. Because I'm careful what I'm doing with others. And instead of harming them, I'm trying to be as helpful as I can. Then if there's no rebirth, never mind. But at least I led a good life. A good life which is a good life in my terms. Now, what a good life is, that everybody personally has to say, what is a good life? For me, thanks to these teachings, because I had money, I had a lot of money, okay? But I wasn't happy. I mean, I wasn't totally unhappy either, but I was an alcoholic. I was dependent on this, because otherwise I would be scared shit all the time. You know, couldn't even talk to people. I couldn't even ask somebody, what time is the bus leaving? That paranoid I was. Yeah. So, and the alcohol made the fear, you know, I was open, I was calm. So I wasn't drunk, I just needed a certain level. And because I had a restaurant, it was very easy. People actually sponsored because they always say, oh, let's share a bottle of wine. So anyway, but then now and I hurt a lot of people because I had the perfect excuse. When I would hurt them with my mouth, and as you noticed, that I still have, I can be quite sharp with my mouth. It's like I could say, oh, sorry, I was drunk. Whoop, that was it. I stopped drinking. I didn't have that excuse anymore. So I had to start to be careful about my mouth. And I noticed myself, I like myself better like this. I don't like it when people come and say, hey, you hurt me with your words. It hurts me. I was unhappy about this. So slowly, my life started to change. Thanks to this. Now, whether it's true or not, I have no clue, to be honest. But for me, it's true. For me, these methods seem to work. This is why I'm doing them, and this is why I'm sharing them with you. You know, and also I tell you what doesn't work, for example. Yeah, when I said meditation is not universal medicine for everything. You know, sometimes I sit down in a terrible state of mind. Then I go for a walk or start saying mantras, because that's easy. You know, I just say mantras. And then sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't, but it always goes. The uneasy feeling always goes. Whether I do something about it or whether I don't do anything about it, it changes. Yeah, so I start to see that. So, okay? So this is why time of death, if at the time of death you can have this thought, wherever I am reborn, that's for the Buddhists, okay? Wherever I'm reborn, it doesn't really matter, but may I be of benefit to others. This is such, you know, there's not, oh, I have to go, I don't want to go. It's no grasping. You can grasp as much as you want at the time of death, and this is what is creating the suffering. You will have to go. And the more you grasp, the more you have, like, you know, if you would go down a rope and you're holding on and it burns your hands, this is what will happen. This is what attachment is. Yeah. When you already now, we enjoy everything we have and we think, okay, I have it now, fantastic. There's nothing I can take with me. You know, we kind of familiarize the mind with this, because if I go like, this is mine, I should be able to take it with me if it's really mine. So then I can't take, and we become self-sufficient also. I can't take my family, I can't take my friend, I cannot take my phone. Or if you can take it, there's no reception in the bardo. You can't charge it anywhere. So the phone, the iPhone needs to be in here. What kind of thoughts can I think that make me happy and calm? Because if you don't care about yourself, Meir, but what I would like to tell you, when somebody is with you, your loved ones, and you die in a very, very difficult mind state, it is terrible for them. So for their sake, try to die happy. So then again, you know, the motivation is very, very big. May they not suffer because of my death. Then again, it opens up the heart. Yeah. Whereas, you know, if we suffer and we see them suffer, it makes us even more suffer, and they suffer more, and all this. But with this thought, okay, they like me, they will suffer, but may they not suffer too much because of my death. May they be able to continue their life happily. Then we can go happy. So all this can be trained already now. Yeah. It is very inspiring to be with somebody who dies peacefully, because you feel something really big is going on. That they are going, when they are in the clear light, you can feel it, even totally ordinary people. Rutush is kind of nodding because she's been there, she's seen it. Yeah? And you feel like you want to hug that person, and you feel like in this awe. You don't know what's going on, but it's this kind of, and you feel very spacious and very peaceful. If somebody dies clinging and grasping, all you want to do is get out of the room as quickly as possible. It's almost as if you can feel the energy of that grasping mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had a thought now that you talked to Meir, and you told him to think about his loved ones, that there is something similar about compassion when you live.
Yeah,
So,
for example.
my mother, she died when I was very young.
Okay.
Like she died very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And you could feel that she was thinking of her children while dying.
Yeah.
And you could see it after death on her face. My father also died a bit later, and he was really, really grasping for 3 days. He was struggling in every language he knew not to die.
Yeah.
He did not want to die anyway.
Yeah.
And it was so much torture for us.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible, and it leaves you with a very heavy feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It stays for quite a while.
Exactly.
So this is, we can think, I want to die peacefully, so the people who are around me, they don't suffer too much.
Exactly.
That would be a nice motivation. It has nothing religious. It's thinking about others first, isn't it?
I don't want to answer. I have an
Okay,
answer.
good.
I don't think it's appropriate that answer.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay, good.
Our private interpretation, but
It's just a suggestion.
so
That I'm just making some suggestions here.
no, I'm thinking
Yeah,
what you say.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So now we make a break until 1:05, again 20 minutes. And then hopefully I will start with the 11 points. I can't promise.
new start, 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 new start,